Hello everyone. Yesterday, that is on 21st of November 2021, INS Vishakhapatnam was commissioned and its services are brought into the service of the nations. So, one point that was discussed across the political circle and in the media, that given the circumstances, these warships and destroyers will play a vital role in securing India's strategic interest. So, what are the challenges that are emerging before the before the nation? And if we talk about particularly the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Oceans. So, in that context, it becomes very relevant to understand what are the international laws which regulate the laws of the seas. So, we call these laws as UNCLOS. It is United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas. That is UNCLOS. Hold on a second. UNCLOS 1982. It was ratified in 1982. So it is United Nations Convention Laws on Seas, UNCLOS. It determines the it gives a kind of legal framework which is applicable to activities in the ocean, which includes countering illicit activities at seas. So let us understand how this UNCLOS defines the use of water and the sovereignty over water. First of all, we'll understand how this is measured. So first of all, it is measured in nautical miles, and 1 nautical miles is 1852 meters. It is almost 2 kilometer if we take the radial length. So nautical miles is represented by caps M. So wherever you see M notation, it means that it is the nautical miles. So all the measurements would start from the territorial base line, that is this line in this particular map. So from territorial base line up to 12 nautical miles, it is called as territorial sea water or state territorial coastal waters. So within this boundary, so that is from baseline till the 12 nautical miles, the sovereignty of the state exists into this territorial water. So it is called territorial water. Sovereignty extends to the air, space, water column, seabed and subsoil, allowing for the right of innocent passage. So let us understand the term airspace, that is space over and above this water, that is this space. Then we have water column. So this is the water column extending from this point up to this point, it is the water column. So then we have seabed. So this is the seabed. Then subsoil, surface below the seabed is the subsoil. So in all the matters, the sovereignty of the state will exist over the territorial sea water. So at the same time, the other vessels will be allowed of this innocent passage. If they are not hostile, if they are going somewhere, then they will be allowed to enter into the territorial water, that is the innocent passage. So from this 12 nauticals to further 12 nauticals, that is up to 24 nautical miles, it is called contiguous zone, that is limited enforcement zone. So these are the areas where few of the laws of the country is extended, like customs and all that. So I have described this in a different slide. So from 12 nautical miles to 24 nautical miles, it is contiguous zone. Then there is something called exclusive economic zone. From the territorial sea, I mean from the baseline up to 200 nautical miles, it is called the exclusive economic zone. It is the zone or the length to which the sovereignty right for exploring, exploiting, conserving and managing living and non-living resources of the water column and underlying continental shelf. So this is the area which is the continental shelf. So up to this area, I mean up to this line, the resources can be exploited. It can be explored and exploited. It can be conserved and managed by the state. So this is it. Then beyond 200 nautical mile, it is called high seas, water column beyond national jurisdiction. So beyond 200 nautical miles, it is called high sea, and water column beyond this is beyond the national jurisdiction. So there is one more thing that is called continental shelf. So continental shelf is basically the extension of the land mass of the continent, and the rights over the continental shelf is also defined in the UNCLOS, right? So from the baseline up to 12 miles or 12 nautical miles, it is called the sovereign territory. Then we have sovereign rights to water column and continental shelf. So this is the water column and this is the continental shelf. Sometimes the continental shelf may exist, extend beyond 200 nautical miles from the baseline. So if because it is a natural extension, then it may go beyond the 200 nautical miles from the baseline, but it cannot go beyond the 350 nautical miles or to 2500 meter isobath. What does it mean? I'll show you in the explain you in the next slide. So this is the area from up to which the sovereignty rights to the continental shelf exist. So beyond this there is no rights, and this is the free sea. So this is about the UNCLOS. Now let us discuss what are the other things that I wanted to discuss with you. Most of the things I have already discussed, but let us highlight the terms that we have discussed in the image. So internal water, it is the national water. So the sovereignty of the state will it is as good as the inland water of the country. Territorial water we have discussed. Out of 1200 nautical miles from the out to 1200 nautical miles from the baseline, the coastal state is free to set laws, regulate and use any resources. Vessels are given right to innocent passage through any territorial waters, with strategic straits allowing the passage of military crafts as transit passes. In the naval vessels are allowed to maintain postures that would be illegal in the territorial waters. Then we have contiguous zone beyond 12 nautical miles. There is further 12 nautical miles from the territorial sea base limit, which is called the contiguous zone, in which a state can continue to enforce laws in 4 specific areas. These are customs, taxations, immigrations and pollution. If the infringement started within the state's territory of the territorial water, or if infringement is about to occur within the state's territory or territorial waters, this makes the contiguous zone a hot pursuit area. These are some of the things which are visible in the South China Sea and East China Sea. Then we have exclusive economic zone that we have discussed, that these extend from the edge of the territorial sea out to 1200 nautical miles from the baseline. Within this area, the coastal nation has sole exploitation right of all natural resources in coastal. In casual use, the term may include the territorial sea or even the continental shelf. EEZ were introduced to all the increasingly heated classes over fishing rights. Although oil was also becoming important, these are the some of example. Then we have continental shelf. Continental shelf, as we have discussed before, it is defined as the natural prolongation of the land territory to the continental margins outer edge, or 200 nautical miles from the coastal state's baseline, whichever is greater. A state's continental shelf may exceed 200 nautical miles until the natural prolongation ends. However, it may never exceed 350 nautical miles from the baseline, or beyond the 2500 meter isobath. Isobath is the line connecting the depth of 2500 meters. Coastal states have the right to harvest minerals and non-living material in the subsoil of the continental shelf to the exclusion of others. Coastal states also have exclusive control over living resources attached to the continental shelf, but not to creatures living in the water column beyond the exclusive economic zone. So they cannot exploit the water column, that is, they cannot go for fishing in this area, because most of the times it causes the conflict between the two nations. So this is what we have discussed in this this slide. You may also download this if you want to save it. So if you like this this discussion, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.